What da danyo, what da dang, and go danyo, oh, what da dang. This is the Blakk part. AKA Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. And of course, here we don't criticize, but if we must criticize, we'll do it on one condition. Only one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we say we are in the service of God and country. This is the voice of the people, and the voice of the people is the voice of God. It's the Blakk part. AKA Kukushunamo, and here we speak truth to power. Now today we have a number of issues we're taking from the newsreel. We endeavor to keep that always real. This is the voice of the people, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Now the very first story we are looking at today, my brother, my sister, comes from City Newsroom. And it says, government to tax foreign incomes of resident Ghanaians to replace VAT on electricity. Government to tax foreign incomes of resident Ghanaians to replace VAT on electricity. And I read, now the government is seeking to plug the revenue gap created as a result of the abandoned VAT on electricity with a tax on the foreign incomes of resident Ghanaians. Now, at the beginning of the year, the government introduced a value-added tax on electricity. However, it was forced to abandon the initiative following a public backlash. Now, this created a revenue gap of about 1.8 billion Ghana cedis. The government had planned to implement the VAT on electricity as part of revenue measures in the IMF deal, but the initiative was abandoned after public resistance, leading to a revenue shortfall. Now, the government is confident that ensuring compliance with the tax on foreign incomes will close the revenue gap. Ghana's deal with the IMF entails setting expenditure, rationalization, and revenue measures to ensure fiscal consolidation of the economy. Now, to make up for the shortfall, the government says it will ensure compliance with the tax on foreign incomes of Ghanaians who reside in the country for 183 days or more. Now, the alternative is a compliance measure on foreign incomes of resident Ghanaians, not Ghanaians abroad. We want to make that clear. This is not a measure. It has been in the policy, but its implementation has not been optimal. We are happy to announce that we have put strong and structural measures in place to ensure that this yields the revenue of 1.8 billion and beyond. Julie Esiam, the head of the Ghana Revenue Authority, said, my brother, my sister, I leave it here. My brother, as confusing as this might be, we will try and unravel the mystery behind this demon. First and foremost, in Ghana, if you hold a dual citizenship, you cannot hold a public office. And that's what Mahama said the other time, that when he wins power, he would make sure that Ghanaians can hold dual citizenship, and at the same time, they would hold public office, which we condemned optimally. At the time, we are all crying for what is known as patriotism. We must not be encouraging dual citizenships. Many people have disagreed with me on this, but trust me, many more have agreed. My brother, if your country is struggling with patriotism, if your country, my brother, my sister, is struggling to be able to be true to the country, you don't give the citizens another option to belong to another jurisdiction. It doesn't make sense. And this is what we've been preaching all this while, my brother. It is clear, and we all must come to that understanding. So when Mahama brought it up, maybe they didn't think about it properly. we decided to hit back strongly and say that, no, Mr. President, when your country is struggling with patriotism, you don't give the citizens yet another opportunity to belong to other countries in double citizenship. Write it down. When your country is struggling with patriotism, you do not give the citizens another chance to belong to another nation. My brother, my sister, think about it deeply. And I would like to share this with you. Now, the Nana Akufo-Addo government is the most confused, arrogant government I have seen in Africa. They have a way of bringing in some performance standard, whatever, tracker, to praise themselves, tickle themselves, and laugh. Oh, what ostriches in power. This is one of the worst governments we have seen on the continent of Africa. And posterity will judge them so harshly. I sympathize with Bawumia. They knew they had performed so abysmally. They knew that there was no way Ghanaians were going to stand by and vote them into power again. So breaking the 8, they were just making a mockery of Bawumia. They all stood aside and pushed the stooge Bawumia and asked him to make a mockery of himself after destroying the economy, my brother, my sister, and turning Ghana into a begging nation with no apology. My brother, my sister, and after making enough money from the taxpayers' coffers, they decided to push the innocent yet not innocent stooge to come and make mockery of himself that he wants to be president. Now everywhere he goes, people hoot at him. Now when the elections finally are held, there's only one verdict Ghanaians would understand and expect: that the NPP government is out for good. That's the only verdict they want. Whoever becomes president, Ghanaians do not care anymore. That person will be better than the NPP government. Now let me come to the subject for today. Now, apart from dual citizenship, we all remember the story of Kwesi. Remember Kwesi, who was an MP and was kicked out, and he went for another election and he won after going to court and blah blah. All of a sudden the court issue has died down. These politicians, what do they take us for? They behave like Andrew's liver salt. When the issue comes out, they rise to the top and they get to the ground again, forgetting everything. What happened to the Kwesi issue? He's gone back to parliament. My brother, my sister, after disregarding the rules of the nation of holding dual citizenship, and at the same time, my brother, my sister, attempting and even getting elected into public office. The excuse was that, oh, he tried to revoke, better still renounce his dual citizenship before the election, but it came so late. My brother, they went to court. What happened in the court? Now everybody's quiet. Now when our courts behave like this, nobody is going to trust them anymore. If you go to court and there's a certain stalemate, intentional stalemate that can stay there till thine kingdom comes, who is going to have any trust in these courts? Anyway, my brother, my sister, let's get more serious. Hear me now. Now, the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia joke government is saying this, that Ghanaians who live abroad, listen on, Ghanaians who live abroad, and they have residents to live abroad, whatever, when they come to Ghana and stay in Ghana for a number of days, they are going to tax their income. Listen to this joke. So if you are a Ghanaian and then you work in America, by all means you would have a residence permit because you work there. Now when you return to Ghana for holidays or whatever and stay in the country for just over 180 days, according to what they are saying, the Ghanaian government will tax whatever income you are paid from America. Does it make it clear? Or should we make it clearer? Okay, so I live and work in America even though I'm a Ghanaian. Now I come on holidays and I spend over 180 days in Ghana, maybe just sleeping. But whatever earnings I have whilst I am in Ghana, coming from the United States of America, the Ghana government would tax it because I work abroad and I am Ghanaian and I have decided to come and live in the country for over 180 days. My brother, a country that is struggling with patriotism does not try things like this. Instead of trying to make our people understand what it is to say patriotism, to love the nation the way the nation is supposed to be loved, so that when they are contributing towards the building of this nation, they don't look back. We are punishing them in one way or the other for belonging to this nation. That's how I see it. My brother, the man lives abroad. He works in a country where he is taxed. And he pays all his taxes or he will go to jail. He cannot cut corners with his taxes in America. Whilst the American people are taxing him, the Ghana government says they would also tax this guy because his crime is that he has come to live in Ghana for 180 days plus. My brother, my sister, I don't know what you think about it. But if we want to tax our citizens who work abroad, I think there's a better way of doing it. There is a better way. They do not have to come and live in Ghana and work in Ghana for 180 days plus before we start taxing them. Even wherever they are, they can still be taxed by virtue of the fact that they are citizens of this nation. Think about it. Now the next thing I want to look at, my brother, my sister, is coming from my own Tree News, the most authentic source of news online. And he says, I leave you in the flesh, but I will be with you in spirit. This is coming from Dr. Oforitinkrine as he bids SSNIT staff farewell. I read, outgoing Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, Dr. John Oforitinkrine, has ensured and assured staff of the trust that he will remain part of them under the leadership of the newly appointed Director General, Kofi Busompim Osafo-Maafo. It will be recalled that the President, Akufo-Addo, on Wednesday, April 9, terminated the appointment of Dr. Oforitinkrine. In his stead, the President appointed Kofi Busompim Osafo-Maafo, the son of the former senior minister, Yao Osafo-Maafo, who is now the senior advisor to the President of Ghana. In his parting notes to the staff on Monday, April 15, that's yesterday, not the day before yesterday, now the outgoing Director General encouraged them to offer their utmost support to the incoming Director General, even more than they offered him. Dr. Oforitinkrine said that even 7 years of his life have been spent with the trust, and thus he remains a part of them. 7 years of my life is here, so I remain part of you, said Dr. Oforitinkrine. I will be praying for you, cheering you on to attain higher heights, and I'll be sharing and rejoicing in your triumphs and successes. We must succeed, and SSNIT must succeed and grow from strength to strength for the benefit of all those on whose sweat and toil the country is built. So the President of the Republic of Ghana woke up one day and decided that he had had cocoa, and because the cocoa was so painful, somebody must suffer for the cocoa. What did he do? He decided to kick out Kyeremanteng, who had worked with SSNIT for 7 solid years. He had restructured the whole place and kept it on a stronger footing. And he made one of his juniors, the son of his senior advisor, Yao Osafo Mafo, the new director general. My brother, my sister. And sadly, they couldn't even give a single reason why the director general of Kyeremanteng was being sent off, except to say that they are having a new restructuring. Now the president went ahead to say that Kyeremanteng had worked so hard and had done so well and had uplifted the image of SSNIT. But it was time for him to go because of the new restructuring. As to what restructuring this is, I can only read political undertones and underpinnings, shenanigans and gymnastics into this. It's a way of rewarding the boys. Maybe it was a promise to Yao Osafo Mafo that this will be given to him on a silver platter. My brother, my sister, if the man has worked so hard and they decided to kick him out like this, I can only shed tears for the nation. Interestingly, Kyeremanteng is living, and this is what he has to tell the people. Support this new person who was my subordinate more than you even ever supported me. Number 2, 7 years of my life have been spent with SSNIT. I can't let that go waste. Please, I am still part of you in spirit, even though I leave you in flesh. Thirdly, remember that SSNIT must grow from strength to strength because of the flesh, blood, and toil of the Ghanaians whose energy SSNIT has been built on. My God, what words of inspiration. Now the old man living is not crying that he's lost his job. He only wants to see SSNIT grow. That's a generational thinker. He wants to see the toil of Ghanaians not go in vain. After all, this is social security and national, not political, national insurance trust. It's not an MPP or NDC trust. It's the national trust. When we all get old, we will see the importance of SSNIT. When my mother passed on, SSNIT called us and said, your mother left this money for you. After several years of working, close to 40 years, this was what she left. And all her 5 children, we had money. Money that was supposed to go to our mother time after time as she enjoyed her beautiful retirement. But she died before she could even enjoy the retirement properly. So the money was given to us. SSNIT is very important. I remember when I took SSNIT loans in order to go to school, and many of us still do. SSNIT is very important. It's not the brainchild of a political party. It's the brainchild of the nation. In fact, Dr. Kyeremanteng has gained a lot of my respect. His assistant also decided to leave his post. My brother, my sister, and we can all tell that it's a rebuttal, or better still, in demonstration of his loyalty to hard work and not for political considerations. Dr. Kyeremanteng, these words mean a lot to me as I stand here. And I want to say that I take these words seriously. Wherever you are, I am also with you in spirit. But we are in 2 different places in flesh. Think about it, my brother. Are you working for Ghana, or you are working for a political party? Are you working for yourself, or you are working for Ghana? A lot of Ghanaians work for themselves. Me busu afọ didi a, let me want Tommy. My brother, is it about you or it's about the nation? Think about it. Until we all grow to the point where we work for the nation and not necessarily for us, this nation would have a long way to go. Another thing I would like to look at very quickly is this one here, and I need you to come along as we look at that. 3news.com, and it says, you will account for your deeds. Mahama warns Akufo-Addo officials. And I read, former President John Dramani Mahama has served notice to all officials of the Akufo-Addo administration that they will be held accountable for their actions while in office if the National Democratic Congress, NDC, wins this year's elections. Now, the flag bearer of the NDC stated that the current government officials will account for the misappropriation of state funds. We are not going to witch hunt anybody, but if you have messed up the life of the people of Ghana and you have misappropriated their monies, you must account for it. John Mahama said on Tuesday, April 16. Watch this. Now, my brother, I like to hear this, but I don't want it to just stay as hot air. I want it to be able to evolve into proper action. We heard Nana Akufo-Addo say more than this, and we believed him because we, at the time, believed that old men did not lie. Now we know some of the worst liars on earth are old men. My brother, my sister, Nana Akufo-Addo said he would deal with all the people who misappropriated Ghanaian monies, and that he will bring to book all the charlatans who stole from Ghana. My brother, my sister, but today as it stands, it's even a problem dealing with the corruption in his own government, let alone governments that came before him. In some countries, we see former presidents stand trial. We see some of them even go to jail. We see people commit suicide in Malaysia for stealing state money. They are so embarrassed and ashamed that they let their country down that they commit suicide. But in our part of the world, we are promoted. The only punishment is that we are transferred, promoted, and given better conditions of service. How would the nation grow? I remember when Canada Japan said Mahama was a thief, Kromfosa, and it was Nana Akufo-Addo who was making sure that Mahama was not going to jail. How Nana Addo has been able to do this is still a miracle to me, my brother. How many people in the Mahama government stole money? How many of them have been made to account for their tenure? My brother, we live in a country where governments do not hold accountable the same people they claimed whilst in opposition were stealing and looting the national coffers. Please write it down. I said we live in a country where governments do not hold accountable previous governments that they claimed were stealing and looting the coffers of the nation while they were in opposition. Jesus have mercy. That way, how can we move on? I believe and I pray that Mahama will be able to push this should he become president. We want to see some level of accountability and probity. We want to see the courts work again. We are tired of Manchester United. We are tired of Wanchenzi United. We want to see proper action. We want to see patriotism on wheels running. We want to see proper leadership. That is the only legacy we can leave behind for our children, not the stolen money. As for the stolen money, your children would use that on drugs and mess themselves up, get diseases that will send them to early graves, which you yourself will stand and see buried before you even die. I leave it here. Now the last thing I would like to look at, and this will take me just about 2.5 minutes, and it's coming from the same treenews.com. It says, let my victory start at Agunan Kwanta. I will build an all-purpose market for you. And this is Kyeremanteng speaking. I read, presidential candidate for Movement for Change, John Kyeremanteng, has promised to build an ultra-modern and all-purpose market for traders and businesses at Agunan Kwanta in the Western region. Mr. Kyeremanteng took his campaign tour of the Western region to Agunan Kwanta and became saddened by the spectacle that greeted him at the main market. The Agunan Kwanta market is one of the busiest in the region, where farmers along the Ahanta and Nzema stretch bring the bulk of their farm produce for onward distribution to other satellite markets, including those in the Sekendi Takrade. Those with lockable stalls complained bitterly about consistent bulging, as the market is not some grammatical errors there, but we understand what it is. Now hear this, brethren, hear this. Our politicians engage in what is known as knee-jerkism. Knee-jerkism. You want to write it down? Knee-jerkism. Knee is K-N-E-E hyphen jerkism is J-E-R-K-I-S-M. Knee-jerkism. You know what that means? Impulse buying. You go into the market, you plan that you want to buy Kobe and momone plus some cassava dough, agbelemo. And you go into the market, you see sardine. Oh, sardine FPA, you go and buy. You've already forgotten about the momone. Then you look around and see some shoe. Shoe here FPA. Then you go and buy the shoe. Before you realize, the money that you have decided to keep and to spend wisely on agbelemo, Kobe and momone, you have used that on a shoe and also on sardine. That is what is called impulse buying. Knee-jerkism. You go all the way to Agunan Kwanta to talk to them. You see that a market is in a bad shape, and already you will build them a new market. What's the budget? Have you worked it out? Do you have the money for it? Have you been able to plan for that in your budget? All of a sudden, you are building them an ultra-modern market. After building the market, it becomes a white elephant, like what we have seen around. Traders are not interested in going in there to sell. They rather want to be on the street. And pedestrians and drivers do not have the common sense not to stop buying from these people. Walk onto the streets of Accra and look at how drivers and pedestrians are buying from people on the road. They have turned the roads into marketplaces. Meanwhile, they decided to move all the traders to another area. The onion market has been moved. Go to the onion market today and see if you would find even one onion seller there. Because of knee-jerkism, impulse buying, decisions based on emotions and not common sense. After Kyeremanteng builds the so-called ultra-modern market, now he has to think about whether the roads are communicable enough. Commutable, that's the word. Commutable enough to join the market. That's the problem. Now, when they realize the roads are not good enough, oh, now they are looking for money to build the roads, to connect the market. Before they get out of power, they use that for another campaign message. Oh, when you vote us into power, the market will build for you. We will now build very beautiful modern roads to join the market. They never take a decision, hook, line, and sinker, in total. No, it's piece by piece. At the end of the day, we kill ourselves for nothing. It's sad, my brother. And as for Alan Kyeremanteng, I don't know why Ghanaians want to even give him one vote. A guy who was under Nana Akufo-Addo for 7 solid years, they messed up the nation. He prides himself in the fact that he was the one who pushed us into going to the IMF to be able to get loans. Can you believe that? So this is the kind of man we have. He's an IMF man. More loans. He wants Ghanaians to clap for him, that he was the one who convinced Nana Akufo-Addo to go to the IMF. Such people, can you trust them? I see them as nation wreckers. I don't have any interest in these guys. It's a shame that the nation, some people are even considering that they will give 1 or 2 votes to Alan Kyeremanteng. Somebody who joined the Nana Akufo-Addo to destroy the nation. My brother, all of a sudden, he sees everything wrong with Nana Akufo-Addo. But when he was in there, everything was beautiful. Everything was heavenly. Such people are hypocrites. They are traitors. I leave it here.